Well, what you see here isn't new, except for the thinner, which we can now get easily and cheaply. Before, remember I had recommended the polyurethane thinner, which was very expensive. This is solvent for contact cement. It's relatively easy to find. Check the brand, and well, you just ask for it. It's very cheap, much cheaper than thinner. A few years ago, I made a first video showing how to make varnish from Telgopor or Unicell. That video has over 1 million views. Well, today I'm going to tell you several things that nobody says about this final product. How long does it last? What problems can it cause to the environment? And is it still as polluting as before? By turning it into varnish, we're breaking down the structure of a material, styrofoam, which would take more than 500 years to degrade to turn it into a protective layer. What we do is a dissolution. We reduce the volume by more than 90%, which is really good. But how resistant is this varnish really over time, and how polluting is it? What? The solvent actually doesn't alter the polystyrene molecule, it just dissolves it, removing 95% of the air in the material. And we go from an expanded polymer, which is very bulky and weak because it crumbles easily, to a glassy, dense, and rigid polymer. By removing the air, the material becomes much more resistant to degradation. The immediate mechanics, but it inherits the genetic weaknesses of the original plastic. In a word, it's still polystyrene. And what are the enemies of that Unicell varnish? The Achilles heel of polystyrene is ultraviolet radiation. Polystyrene is made up of links. They're called monomers in chemistry. Those monomers hook onto each other and form a chain that's practically endless. It's repeated thousands of times. Those monomers have aromatic rings in their structure. Come here, I'll show you on the monomer called styrene, and you see this hexagon right here. It's an aromatic ring that absorbs ultraviolet light and undergoes a reaction called photooxidation. The material turns yellow, loses its shine, and eventually cracks and flakes off. Unlike a commercial varnish, this varnish doesn't have elasticity with changes in temperature, heat, or cold. The surface to which the varnish is applied, whether it's wood, metal, or concrete, will expand. And that styrofoam varnish, being rigid, fractures at a microscopic level, so it starts to crack. And, well, that degradation is a green degradation, let's say. The answer is no. When that varnish degrades due to the sun and rain, it doesn't disappear. It turns into invisible polystyrene particles that end up in the soil or in the water. Are they, well, the famous microplastics? Is this varnish more eco-friendly? Yes, because it prevents the volume of styrofoam from ending up in landfills and all that. But it's still a very, very resistant polymer. That is, by reducing the amount of material that floats around and ends up thrown in ditches and eventually in the sea, it helps prevent a serious problem for marine life because fish eat it. Well, there's a whole series of problems caused by those microplastics and these little styrofoam balls that keep getting smaller and spread everywhere. What can we do to maximize the lifespan of this varnish? The best thing is to add 10% commercial polyurethane varnish. You have to try this here first. Try with a little bit, mix it, see if it mixes well. And this will give it the flexibility it's missing. Use styrofoam mixed with white glue, like I showed you in a video not long ago. That's not the solution either, because even if an emulsion is produced, actually both components don't combine chemically. That's why it turns out opaque. Actually, the white glue gets trapped in micro droplets within a polystyrene structure, so that's not a solution either. Where is it better to use varnish? Well, obviously in places where the sun doesn't hit, indoors, surfaces that don't get direct sunlight. Always remember that the sun is the enemy of this varnish. It works much better as a primer, meaning for giving a first coat, for example, to wood and so on. And then, as a final finish, you apply a commercial varnish so it can be exposed if you're going to put it outdoors to seal the unicell varnish. It's a brilliant solution for the circular economy, but it's not infallible. We're using chemistry to give a second life to a nasty, highly polluting waste. We have to understand that even though we've transformed it, we need to protect it from the sun so that its new life is truly long and it doesn't keep polluting. Expanded polystyrene is one of the pollutants that produces the most microplastics on the planet. And in this video, I don't want to get into microplastics. That's a whole other topic because of all the harm it causes, so I'll leave it here. I hope it's clear what the limitation of this recycling is and what pollutants it produces. If you liked it or found it useful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notifications when I upload new content. Don't forget that just a few days ago I created a new channel attached to this one exclusively for radio and amateur radio topics. All those topics will be there. They won't be here anymore on Caesar Space, let's say, the regular channel. That doesn't mean there won't be electronics topics. I'll keep making basic and educational electronics content, just like I've always done. But the specific topics about radio and amateur radio, antennas, building radio equipment, and all those things using specific instruments, all of that will be on the other channel. I'll add the link below in the description. You can also join, and in that case, I'll add you to a WhatsApp group where the premium members are. Thank you so much for watching the video, and until next time, God willing.